How ancient Greek hygiene was similar to and different from today. Even though certain media, including movies, portrays ancient people as dirty, that isn't true. The ancients had cleanliness customs, particularly the Greeks, who were among the most developed societies. The Greeks managed to keep themselves clean despite not having showers. Hair color, perfume, and flushing toilets were all common in ancient Greece. However, they used different ingredients, recipes, and customs than people do now. Compare the ancient Greeks' hygiene practices to modern ones to see how different and similar they were. Greeks constructed baths. Throughout ancient Greece, baths underwent changes and development. The Greeks of antiquity recognized the health benefits of bathing. However, their first baths were only brief splashes in icy water. The hot air bath was later developed by the residents of Laconica, a town close to Sparta. Hot coals or rocks were used to warm the air in hot air baths, also known as Laconica baths. Although the Greeks didn't distinguish between hot and cold baths, steam chambers eventually rose to the status of luxury. Over time, the Greeks constructed enormous public bathhouses all over the area, as well as big public bathhouses. Bathhouses are among the earliest ancient Greek archaeological sites. The Greeks built dedicated bathing chambers and borrowed the Minoans' washing jars and footbaths. Baths were frequently big enough to fit several persons. Greek baths were frequently found near gyms, swimming pools, or sporting venues. Some bathhouses had sex divisions, whereas others didn't. However, Plutarch noted that there were several smaller, private bathhouses all around Greece. Homer claims that the Greeks frequently extended their baths as a gesture of friendliness. Chalk was used by the Greeks to cover their skin. Today, many individuals want to seem brown, yet in ancient Greece, pale skin was trendy. The bodies of the Greeks were covered in foundation. Women started combining lead powder and applying it to themselves around 200 BC. You could have figured that this concoction was poisonous. They switched from lead to chalk, which was less harmful, around 1000 BC. Elite Romans finally had skin disfigurements because they preferred lead pastes. Even yet, during the Middle Ages, when Italians painted their faces, this foundation was still widely used. They had colored hair. In ancient Greece, blonde hair was the pinnacle of beauty. To color their hair, both sexes would lay in the sun while their hair was covered in vinegar, lemon juice, or saffron. Aphrodite and Achilles were two epic figures who frequently had blonde hair. Archaeological digs, however, suggest that black hair color had value in some places. Lead oxide and calcium hydroxide were used by the Greeks to make a permanent dye. Yes, that was harmful as well. Greeks in antiquity used flushing latrines. Even though it may seem odd, the ancient Greeks possessed toilets. Drains were created by the ancient Minoans to allow water to drive waste aside. The Greeks constructed flushing latrines in public restrooms by the first millennium BC. The only amenities in ancient Greece were benches with holes in them. People sat next to each other without any walls or partitions in public restrooms. Eventually, flushing toilets and bathrooms were installed in even middle-class homes. They employed combs. Combs have been used for thousands of years, with the earliest artifacts discovered in Persia reaching back 5,000 years. Gold, ivory, and bone combs have been found by archaeologists in ancient Greek sites. These brushes frequently had intricate engravings of mythology and gods. In ancient Greece and Rome, where diseases and lice were common, combs were highly esteemed. Only wealthy women and household helpers owned combs due to their high cost. Even their favorite brushes were placed in the graves of many women. They chew gum. The Greeks were among the many ancient civilizations that chewed gum in some way. Mastic, a plant resin derived from the mastic tree, was chewed by them. Greeks chewed mastic to keep their teeth healthy and breath fresh. They did not do it for the substance's flavor. To encourage dental cleanliness, the Greeks also utilized twigs as toothpicks and brushes. The aristocracy had slaves whose only responsibility was to clean other people's teeth by the time of the Roman Empire. Each body part has its perfume used. Many of the perfume's formulations, which were highly prized by the ancient Greeks, were from Crete. For each area of the body, a new scent was applied. For instance, they would apply mint to their arms, oregano oil to their feet, and marjoram to their hair. The perfume wasn't simply for special events for the ancient Greeks. They thought that smells could fight off bad spirits. Many Greeks were buried with a bottle of perfume during funerals to ensure peaceful passing. The art of health was about hygiene. The goddess of medicine Asclepius' daughter Hygeia is the source of the word hygiene. Greek physicians devoted entire schools to the art of health, and Hygeia, the goddess of health, was worshipped. The four elements of water, air, fire, and earth were seen by the Greeks as having an impact on the human body. The disease was thought to be brought on by blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. The Greeks believed that by re-establishing balance in the body, one might stay healthy and fend off illness. Healing potentials of hot water. The Greeks believed that God was closely related to nature. It's hardly shocking that they associated hot water with therapeutic properties. There were numerous thermal springs nearby temples. And they weren't mistaken. Thinkers like Plato and Hippocrates observed that hot baths relieved aches in the muscles and skin conditions. To help sportsmen recover after a workout, baths frequently stood next to gymnasiums. The Greeks designated particular hot springs to treat particular illnesses. For therapeutic purposes, they would add Epsom salts, lavender, and bay laurel to the baths. Steam baths in Laconica. Circular rooms with a cone ceiling served as the Laconica thermal baths. The Greeks heated rocks and either buried them beneath the ground or tossed them into the water with pitchforks. They occasionally burned pine, fir, juniper, bay laurel, or other plants as incense. To create steam, the Greeks would pour water over hot rocks. They would occasionally rub peppermint or elderflower tea on their bodies to make them perspire. Laconica baths were open to the public like saunas. They used lotion, but it wasn't like the lotion of today. Although they did not utilize the same compounds as we do now, the ancient Greeks wanted soft skin. They most frequently massaged olive oil or honey onto their skin. These nutrients received some scientific support because olive oil hydrates skin and honey helps treat the skin. Although this has not been confirmed, it was once believed that olive oil and honey might lighten the skin. Greeks used olive oil to clean themselves before rituals since they thought Athens to be the home of the first olives. They transported liquid from fountains. Aside from the ocean, the ancient Greeks did not have much access to fresh water. They constructed wells and fountains in significant metropolitan areas to make things simpler. For bathing, washing, and cleaning, people would carry jugs to the fountain and fill them with water. To keep the fountains clean, bathing in them was forbidden. Water was delivered to city centers via intricate drainage systems. Men, women, and slaves still had to walk a distance to obtain water despite the ease. They usually didn't use soap. Today, people use soap to wash their bodies, but the ancient Greeks did not. Instead, they used a block of clay, pumice, sand, or ashes to rub their bodies. They would then cover themselves in oil after that. To get rid of the filth, the Greeks employed a strigil, a type of metal scraper. They did this to exfoliate since the muck also removed dead skin. They would then take a bath and relax. The Greeks rarely went to public baths since bathing was such a hassle. But they made soap. Some evidence suggests that the Greeks invented the soap. Archaeologists discovered soap manufacturers amid the Pompeii ruins. The Babylonian era, about 2800 BC, is when the first soap was created. Instead of bathing, the ancients probably used soap to clean their equipment. Ash and water were combined to make an alkaline, potassium-based soap. Then they would mix them with oils and fats from animals to create a detergent. Despite their appearance all over Greece, soaps were uncommon. Diet was viewed as a form of hygiene. Greeks considered eating as a component of hygiene because they thought that health came from the inside out. On how to prepare food and when to eat it, doctors have written comprehensive guidelines. They gave heating, moisturizing, grilling, broiling, and cooking significant thought. The line between diet and cleanliness was muddled. Certain foods were recommended by ancient Greek doctors for particular illnesses. The body was meant to be cleansed by a clean diet. even in the Middle Ages, the word hygiene was used to describe medical procedures. Do you like this video? Give your response in our comments section below, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates.